Ceuta in North Africa. It's a cool morning. I'm just going to go up for breakfast. It's slightly overcast and it was very windy in the night. Not the hot weather I was expecting in Africa, but that's kind of okay. I'll survive it. I'm a bit nervous this morning because this morning I've got my big border crossing into Morocco, and you never quite know how these things are going to go. Talking to my host here, he says, oh, it'll be fine. 15 minutes is all it'll take through the border. And when I told him my stories of the Turkey to Greece crossing, which took me 5 hours, he was horrified. He said, no, it'll be nothing like that. I hope he's right. We'll see when we get there. But first, I'm going out for breakfast. Well, here we go. Off to find Moroccan border. Just need to stop and finish preparing myself now that I'm through the gate. I haven't left anything behind there. That Airbnb was huge and my stuff ended up spread out all over the place. So hopefully I've found it all and picked it all up. I think so. I'm fairly familiar with where everything fits in my packing and there weren't any gaps, so hopefully that's all okay. Second challenge for the day is that I can't plan a route, because as I go into Morocco that will become a different SD card on Garmin, and you can't plan routes that cross over from different SD cards, so I have to plan a route to the border, and then when I get there I'll plan my route for the rest of the day. A little bit overcast. Tigger says 17 degrees, it doesn't even feel that warm, but there's a bit of sunshine in the distance there, so we'll see. At least it's not 40 degrees. Sign to Morocco. Here we come towards the border. Oh, this is good. No big long queues of traffic. And I probably need to turn the cameras off here. Okay, well, passport control was no problem. Now I've got to do temporary import for Tigger, insurance for Tigger, and then if I can do it here, get a local SIM card for my second phone and some Moroccan currency. Well, while we're waiting in this queue, maybe it's an opportunity for me to tell you a little bit about Tigger. So Tigger is a Triumph Tiger 800 cc's. The XRX version, which is really the road-going version rather than the off-road version. The road-going version has slightly less travel on the suspension and it has alloy wheels rather than spoked wheels. Tigger is the low ride height version of the XRX. That's because my legs are not very long, and so it has longer dog bones here on the rear suspension, which give you less suspension travel at the rear, and it has a different set of front forks which give you less suspension travel at the front. So it directed me to a specific queue for motorbikes, which is good. So just riding backwards through the car queue and now forwards into the motorbike queue. Well, looks like I'm through into Morocco. There's still some things I have to organise. I've got my temporary import, I've got my passport stamped, and Tigger is checked through. but I've still got to make Tigger legal by finding some insurance. There's an insurance office down this side road here, so I'm just going to go and explore that. Well, that insurance office was closed, so I don't have a lot of choice. I'm going to have to press on and hope to find an insurance office quite soon. The nearest town is Tetouan, which is 32 kilometers away, and that's on my route. So if I don't find one before then, I'll need to stop there and have a look around. Anyway, here we are on the road in Morocco. Okay, so I've got some dirhams, a bit of local currency in my pocket, which is good. Just over 1,000 dirhams for 100 euros. And he's pointed me towards a place where I can get insurance. He says it's down here somewhere and you'll see it straight ahead. Pharmacy, dentist, assurance. There we go. Oh, there's a couple of them. That's good. I get a choice. Oh well, we're making progress. That's the insurance sorted. So through the border, I've got my temporary import. I'll tell you a little bit more about that later because that's interesting information for anyone who's coming this way. I'm just in the first town past the border, and in fact, just there I can still see Ceuta. I'm still within sight of the border in effect. And just here on the main street there's AXA insurance. It cost me 920 dirhams for a month of insurance. I'm not sure if I need a month, but the alternative was 10 days, which somehow didn't quite seem enough given the size of Morocco. This place here, Moto Insurance, don't do the kind of insurance that I needed. I went in there, but they said no, go along the road to AXA. So that's sorted. I had to pay in cash, and I had a similar situation when I was crossing from Bulgaria into Turkey. They don't accept any kind of debit card or credit card to pay for temporary insurance like that. It's got to be cash. And fortunately I had just changed my cash at the cash exchange place, so I had enough cash, but that used up everything that I had just got myself. So straight out of AXA Insurance and to the nearest ATM, I've got some more cash. That's not the most cost-effective way to get cash. Just using your bank card in the ATM does work, but it's a fairly expensive way to do it. So I'll organise something better once I find my feet a bit in Morocco. Sending myself money via Western Union is a much more cost-effective to get cash locally. Anyway, here we are. We're in Morocco and heading towards Chefchaouen. It's 10:52, so it's just taken me about 2 hours to get through all of that process. The part I haven't done yet is I don't yet have a local SIM card. That's not vital. I've got two phones with me, my old iPhone and my new iPhone. My new iPhone still has my UK SIM card in it, and I can receive texts on that for free. So any kind of one-time passcodes or whatever, if I'm logging into Amazon or using my credit card or using my Revolut card or so on, those texts will come to me for free. The other phone I can put a local SIM card in and just get, 10 gigs of data or something to use over the next month. And I'll sort that out. Might wait till Chefchaouen before I sort that out. Bit of a cool wind blowing off the sea, 19 degrees centigrade. And I've really got only a 40-minute ride, it says on Garmin, although I suspect Garmin has done its usual trick of adopting local time. So local time here is 10 AM, not 11 AM. So I've probably got an hour and a half, not half an hour, to go to Chefchaouen. Town on the hill ahead of me there is Tetouan, and I'm just going to sail past because I'm heading for Chefchaouen. This road that I'm on, the speed limits are weird. They vary randomly between 100, 80, 60 and 40, completely unpredictably as far as I can tell. So I didn't have far to travel today, so I decided I'm just going to avoid motorways. And of course, in your mind you like to think that that means you're going to be taken onto nice countryside back roads. But in reality, of course, it means that you're ploughing your way through the back streets of towns like this one, taking your chances with the traffic. It's all part of the fun. But of course, reality is never quite as beautiful as your imagination. Some of the local commuters there. I didn't finish telling you about Tigger because I got interrupted by border control and insurance and so on. Where did I get to? Spare side stand, yes. You can't weld aluminium, so if I break the side stand I've got, which does happen, the only solution really is to fit a new one. So I brought one with me. It wasn't expensive and it's easily just strapped on there. I've got a spare clutch cable on here as well, which is just routed alongside the original, just in case that fails. One of the little tricks that I learnt in prepping Tigger for the ride was how to take the clutch cover off and replace the clutch plates. I've got a set of clutch plates with me, just in case I need them. Your hardcore Dakar rally riders would carry a single clutch plate just strapped on the bike somewhere, which would be just a get you home device, or at least get you to the end of the day where your mechanic can replace the clutch. I've got the whole clutch pack with me, and there's one bolt on the Tiger 800, which is just in here, that you can't get to because of this reinforcement that they added onto the frame on the later models of the 800. I've actually replaced that nut with an Allen key bolt so that I can actually get in there and remove that, and I can place the clutch at the roadside if I need to. The Haynes manual says you've got to drop the engine out to do that, but I won't have to. Down at the back here I've got the standard exhaust, Jivy pannier racks. The Jivy pannier racks include, obviously the exhaust is this side, but the space where the exhaust would be this side is the Jivy toolbox. And in the Jivy toolbox, because I've done all the maintenance on the bike myself in preparation for the ride, I've kept a careful note of what tools I used and which tools I needed, which tools I didn't need. And I've not brought with me any of the ones I didn't need. So in there is all the tools I will need for doing some pretty serious maintenance on the bike if I have to. Spare parts, I've mentioned the clutch plates. I've brought fork seals with me as well. And I've brought wheel bearings for front wheel and back wheel with me as well. I've got brake pads as well for the front and the rear. Up at the top here, hand guards. These are the original Triumph hand guards. They're good for weather protection. They won't protect me very much in a fall. They won't protect the levers. The levers have built-in fracture points, so hopefully if I do hit the deck and break a lever, it'll just be the ball end that will be broken off the lever and I'll still be mobile. I haven't brought any spare levers with me. I have brought some mole grips which you can use to grip onto whatever stub of a broken lever you've got, just as a temporary clutch lever or brake lever. I've replaced the original Triumph mirrors with double takes. The original mirrors are a bit flimsy, they tend to wobble about, you don't get a very good rear view out of them, and I broke one in the shed, never mind travelling anywhere. The double takes, you've got to go some to really break one of those. The front here, I've replaced the original screen with a Magstat screen. I actually cut it down by a few inches because that seemed to suit me better to stop the turbulence around the helmet. The original screen gives you quite a lot of turbulence around the helmet at highway speeds. So there we are, that's Tigger. Everything you didn't know that you wanted to know about Tigger. Okay, that's the town of Chefchaouen. Blue Town, they call it. But we're going to be peeling off left in a minute to go up to the campsite. Tent's pitched in a nice shady spot now that I'm here in Chefchaouen. The campsite is way up on the hill above the town, so the walk down to the town is relatively easy. The walk back up is a bit of a tough one. Off down to the town now to go and have a look round. I managed to get everything sorted at the border apart from a local SIM card, and I'm hoping that I can do that in town here. If not, then I'll have to do it in Fez when I get there.
A good one. How are you?
Oh, that's very
good,
nice.
thank you.
Sorry.
No, I'll put you in. Stay there.
Do you have like an Instagram? Rub it on you.
The sketcher.
Yes.
What is normal?
Ja.
Well, that was actually quite a good day today. I had been worried about the crossing from Ceuta into Morocco, but actually the border crossing went fine. I got my temporary import permit and I got my insurance for Tigger. Here's my temporary import permit, not a big piece of paper, and here's my insurance for Tigger so that I'm legal riding Tigger on the roads in Morocco. And the ride over to here in Chefchaouen was pretty spectacular too. And what a cute little town Chefchaouen is. Tomorrow my plan is to ride over to Fez. I've booked a place for a couple of nights in Fez. I've got some detours planned along the way, of course. I'm looking forward to that. Fez is going to be an interesting place to stay, I think. Thanks for watching. If you like this kind of video, click like, click subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.